have a diamond or plan to get one someday, this story is for you. We know there are a lot of very reputable jewelers in this country, but several months ago, we began receiving reports of trickery, even outright thievery, in the diamond business. So we went shopping. And if there is a sucker born every minute, at least tonight they have hidden cameras and work for prime time. Every diamond has a story of happy times, family, or romance. But these three women learned their story had a twist.
So I didn't even dream of this. Didn't even dream of it.
I was devastated. He said it's worth about $8.
It doesn't seem very real that somebody could do this.
To find out the kinds of things people do when the subject is diamonds, Primetime conducted a 3-month investigation. We gave our producer an enviable assignment. Take $25,000 and a hidden camera and go out and buy diamonds at the best price. We decided to begin where you might expect to find a bargain. 47th Street, New York's Diamond District. We started, as you might, randomly, the first store at the corner.
It's a beautiful stone. It's one of the nicest stones I have in a carat size.
We came to our shopping with some education about the so-called 4 C's that determine the value of a diamond. The carat weight, that refers to the size. The cut, which is about the depth and width and angle of the facets. Clarity, whether there are flaws in the stone. And the color. Jewelers grade color on an alphabet from D to Z. The best stones are colorless or near colorless, called white diamonds. Going down the alphabet, the stones are progressively more yellow or brown. And at the bottom end, they're so bad, we're told they're rarely sold. So back on 47th Street at the store called Diamond City, we understand what the owner of the store is talking about when he says the color of this diamond is top of the line.
I go by silver, white, whatever it is. It's a white stone.
The store appraised the diamond at $5,800, but the owner had offered a bargain price.
I'll do it for you for $39.25. That's cheap. Cheap, cheap.
Of course, if we pay cash.
Said the magic word. I'm surprised the duck didn't fall down. Okay. 37.
37?
Yeah.
So we left with our $3,700 bargain and went down the block, where for $3,300 we were offered another near colorless stone.
GH code, right? That's what near colorless is. What you want is
So you're
now.
saying this is a G?
GH code.
So we bought it too and took our purchases to Eric Friedman and Cosmo Altabelli. Both are executive board members of the American Gem Society. Both expert gemologists and certified appraisers. They agreed to evaluate our purchases, starting with the stone we had just bought, our $3,300 GH near colorless diamond.
This diamond is just an extremely yellow diamond.
They said it was not a GH at all, but an OP. A color so bad, nothing else about the stone mattered.
Overshadowed. You know, if you could imagine Sophia Loren, for example, without a nose, you wouldn't say, well, what about the rest of her? You know, it's too late.
Okay, but what about the first diamond we bought at the first store, the one we were told was white?
It's not a white stone. It's a brown color. It's a light tone of brown. Helen Keller could see the difference.
To be certain of this, we also had our 2 diamonds graded by the Gemological Institute of America, which confirmed our stones were yellow and brown. So we wondered, how did this happen? Did both our salesmen simply make honest mistakes? We decided to test the owner of that first store, Howard Weisberg. Remember, he told us the brown stone was white.
Now look at it. Look at the difference. A white diamond. Look at the difference.
Well, listen to what he says about the color several weeks later, when he doesn't know he's talking to another primetime producer trying to sell him the very same stone.
See, it's brown. It's brown in color.
Brown in color?
When you look at it like that.
Almost white.
Who said that?
The guy who sold it to us.
How old are you? How old are you? Because you're naive. He sold it to you and he told you that because he sold it to you. Do not believe everything people tell you from now on. Okay? He lied a little bit.
He lied a little bit?
Yeah.
Well,
That's what most people do.
And here's what happened down the street with Howard Jacobs, who for $3,300 sold us what he had claimed was a near-colorless stone.
GH color. That's what near colorless is.
Now, wearing a suit, he agrees with our experts. There's a problem with the color.
Draws too much color.
Oh, you guys want to make an offer?
Yeah, but you wouldn't accept it.
What is it? That's the 800.
That's a application they got to really good.
What was that again?
That's an application they got to really good.
He and his partner confirm the stone is yellow.
Yellow?
So we thought it was time to come in and ask Mr. Jacobs some questions about his two very different stories.
I'm Diane Sawyer. Can I talk to you?
We told him the lab said our diamond wasn't a GH as he'd said. It was an OP, a far cry from the near colorless he'd put in writing.
You
Why'd
told
you say
us.
that's me? That's not me.
This is you. You want to see it?
That's me.
Mr. Jacobs insisted we still got our money's worth, though he offered his version of buyer beware.
It is true that the salesperson does tend to exaggerate. I mean, he does. He exaggerates the color. I mean, he does. He's trying to sell the stuff.
But an exaggeration from a GH to an OP is kind of a big leap, isn't it? Were you trying to sucker us?
Are you kidding me?
As for the owner of that first store, Howard Weisberg, when he saw us coming, he fled.
Mr. Weisberg, don't you want to know what we're going to be talking about?
If you'd like to talk to me without the cameras going, I will talk to you.
I left my phone numbers, but Mr. Weisberg beat a trail down the street and has never called. As for the two diamonds we had just bought, our experts said people who knew what they were getting would have paid a lot less, at least $2,000 less. And our experts also warned that the practice of exaggerating the grade of a diamond happens a lot of the time.
I can't say it's half the time, but it's very common.
Prime time was had.
That's true.
This is it.
This is it.
Mary Beth Lenzini also thinks she was had by her local jewelry store, but in a different way. She's a school teacher from Hannibal, Missouri, and saved a lifetime for her $5,600 anniversary stone.
My husband would look all the time at it and say, oh, it does have a lot of fire, you know. And so we felt very good about it for 2.5 months.
She learned her diamond had a crack in it, and her jeweler had sealed it up with a chemical. He's now under investigation.
It just seemed almost, you know, that we were searching for someone to dupe us.
So sometimes your neighborhood jeweler can fool you. But does that mean you're better off then with a big retailer, say shopping on television, or a big department store like Macy's? Well, we decided to buy 2 diamonds at 2 separate Macy's stores.
On Long Island, we bought what we were told was another GH colored stone for $4,900, though our experts said that in fact that was 1 color grade too high, and the stone had more flaws than we were told. And here's what happened at another Macy's in Paramus, New Jersey.
Well, you're talking to someone who has 15 years experience, so yes, I have a trained eye for it.
We decided to ask this trained manager of the diamond department about the cut of the diamond. As we said, it's very important. What jewelers call an ideal cut creates brilliant sparkle. The next level down is called well cut. But she had never heard of those terms.
A reliable jeweler would never use his expressions.
Have you ever heard the terms well cut, ideal cut?
Yes. Of course, yes.
The Macy's manager also had some definite opinions about the color of this $4,900 diamond.
This is the F, because this is a G. And you can see that this one's whiter.
Was she right?
It's in the K color range. And if she said it was an F, we're talking about FGHIJK. We're a little bit off. There's too much of a disparity there just to have a subjective difference.
It's not an accident.
No.
You paid for almost $5,000 for
Right.
this. Yeah.
And
in
you're
the high
saying
threes.
High threes.
Mm-hmm.
So for both stones at Macy's, our experts say, make it another $1,900 loss for prime time.
I trust. that
And
if you
what
own
do you
that
think
diamond,
happened when we joined the millions of
that you
home
will feel
shoppers
strongly
all
about
around the
it,
country
call and
who
share
can't
your
resist the
experience about your
sparkle of a
experience.
jewel on TV?
With only 19 rings,
I expect this to go pretty quickly. Take a look right here.
Soon there were only 5 left. No wonder, since the Home Shopping Network said the retail value for this 1-carat diamond cluster was $1,200. And yet look what they were going to do for us.
At $399.95. Your first name is?
Helen from Ohio.
Helen, tell them why they need to snap up here on the last 5 of these.
Oh, they definitely should snap that one up.
Why?
I received that about a week ago.
Oh, you did?
That ring is a dazzler.
It's like freckles.
Through a microscope, even an untrained eye could see particles, black spots, flaws called inclusions in virtually every stone.
Basically, you have inclusions interrupted by small amounts of diamond.
Most jewelers would never sell them. They would just scrap them, and they would be ground up for industrial use.
Our experts say with the setting, even this ring is worth something, and $399.95 is okay. But what about that lure of a bargain on a $1,200 ring?
Where would this ring sell for $1,200?
On Mars?
One other note. Remember how fast those rings were selling? How only 5 of the 19 remained? Well, 6 weeks after we saw the first pitch on TV, guess how many rings the sales operator told us were left? 19. Still, it's one thing to buy a diamond that isn't what it seems. Another to have a cherished diamond stolen.
I was very sick to my stomach. I couldn't believe that I was taken. I trusted him.
Joan Polly of Long Island had worn her engagement ring every day for 37 years when she took it to a jeweler's to have it reset.
If you think you have been victimized by a scam like this...
Almost 2 years later, she saw a news report about that jeweler. She checked her ring and discovered her diamond, worth $7,200, had been switched with a look-alike, a cubic zirconium worth $8. That same jeweler switched Robin Levy's diamonds given her by her mother, who died of cancer.
It's a very upsetting feeling to think that somebody so brazenly stole from you.
And those weren't the only stories we heard about diamonds switched by jewelers. So we decided to use what was left of our budget to see what happened to us. Our experts helped us buy a fine quality white diamond worth $6,000 to $8,000, though we got it at the wholesale price of $4,000. Since no 2 stones are alike, we had our stone plotted. It's a kind of map which shows details like these 2 tiny flecks. And finally, using a laser, we had an extremely tiny serial number etched into one of the edges of our stone. After the stone was mounted, our producer went to about a dozen shops saying she wanted the band enlarged, but none switched the stone on her. Then we asked Ethel Rosen, the mother of a primetime producer, to help out. Since we'd been told older women seem more vulnerable, this is what happened to Mrs. Rosen on her second time out. Our expert, Eric Friedman, confirmed it was our serial-numbered stone which she was taking into a shop in an affluent suburb of Philadelphia. Mrs. Rosen told the owner and jeweler it was a stone left her by her sister and she didn't know the value. He praised the diamond and said he'd have the band enlarged in 2 days. 2 days later, Mrs. Rosen returned, picked up the ring, walked out of the store and handed it to Eric Friedman, who was waiting a few feet away.
This is not the same diamond. Positive.
To double check, we took the ring directly to a local expert, David Craig, who placed it under a microscope. As you can see, no serial number.
This diamond is not this diamond at all.
And furthermore, unlike our quality stone, which had just 2 tiny flecks, this stone had major flaws throughout.
They don't come much worse than this and still be considered jewelry. The difference in the value between the diamond you dropped off and this one is somewhere in the neighborhood of $5,000. So you just lost $5,000 today.
This shop is in a beautiful countrified setting. I mean, I'm sure the man is a respected member of the community. And I just don't know what to say.
Hi, Mr. Calais? Yeah. Diane Sawyer.
So we went back to Philadelphia to ask Mr. Rude Calais about the diamond he gave us.
Well, we got a problem I want to ask you about. Do you do your work here? Do you do it all yourself?
Sure.
You do? You do it all yourself?
We told him it was a different diamond from the high-quality diamond we'd brought in.
Is that a high-quality diamond?
what's going on here? I don't understand this.
We're just curious. There's something that happened here. That's not the diamond we brought you, but that's the setting. And guess what? It had a tiny serial number etched into it.
Right.
The diamond we got back, the diamond that's in this ring now, no serial number.
What?
How did this happen?
I sized the ring for it. I didn't do it. I sized the ring for you.
Was the stone taken out of the ring?
Absolutely not.
So you're completely shocked by this?
Absolutely.
Somebody's got an explanation.
This is not very nice.
Well, it's
I
not
did
very
you a
nice
favor.
to switch stones if somebody switched stones.
Look, that's not my practice. I do not switch stones.
Could this have been an accident?
The only accident that could have happened is if, for some reason, he was not paying attention whatsoever to what he was doing and had two similar diamonds on his bench and mixed them up. But he said that he never took it out of the setting. It was always in his hands.
So here we were at the end of our shopping spree. Primetime had bought 6 diamond rings for almost $22,000. Our expert said we lost money on 4 out of 5 of them, and the 6th was taken. So we ended our outing $9,000 short and a lot wiser. Even if diamonds aren't forever, the shopping lesson is. Well, we asked both Macy's and the Home Shopping Network to reply to our report. Both companies said their diamonds were fairly priced based on information they had from their sellers. Although the Home Shopping Network could give us no explanation for their seller's appraisal, saying that this cluster ring, you remember that one, was worth $1,200 retail. Home Shopping Network also told us that if 19 rings were left after they said they were down to 5, perhaps the rings were returned or reordered for another segment. And both the Home Shopping Network and Macy's point out that they have liberal return policies for anyone who does check the stone and is dissatisfied. So how can you protect yourself? Well, first, know as much as you can about your jeweler and still get color, clarity, and size information in writing and make sure you can bring the stone back. Get a second opinion from a certified appraiser, not an amateur. The American Gem Society is one of the certifying organizations. And finally, get one of those plots or maps of your stone. That way, when you take it in for repair, you can check and make sure it's the same stone that comes out.